Hello, hello, OGs. Time for another peaceful pinning. Hey, Robin. Hey, Phil. Hey, needle worker. It's really nice to see you guys again today. I'm a little earlier today than yesterday, so hopefully this time is working out good for you. I'm doing something a little simpler today. We are just going to do a fabric basic star, and this was a mini kit that we used to have in the shop. It's sold out, but I had one sitting up here and it's a nice easy one. But the reason I picked it for today was because I thought it would be a really good way to show you guys how you can make what looks like ugly fabrics look cuter than what you would think. So, because we've been talking about using scraps and things like that, sometimes fabrics don't look like they're going to be too fantastic for an ornament. Like this brown doesn't look that great, right? But we're going to turn it into something cute. Cute and Christmassy, believe it or not. Hi, Rhonda. Rhonda said, hello everyone. I have enjoyed these daily videos. I am so happy to hear that. Hey, Carmen. Carmen said, hello, OGs. Happy Wednesday to you guys. We're halfway through the week. It's been another busy day around here, but not quite as busy as yesterday. It feels like this whole week has been pretty busy with work stuff. Phil said, with a little glitz, all fabric is beautiful. I couldn't agree more. Hoping that you guys will agree with me about these fabrics at the end. I think you will. I actually have a finished one sitting right beside me, and I'm trying to decide if I should show you the finished one first or just wait till we get there. It's super cute. But we are always talking about how great these are for using up your scraps, and they are. They're just the perfect way to use up your scraps. And I know the scrap bucket doesn't always look that enticing. Even the pretty fabrics, you know, when they're cut into scraps, don't look the most enticing sometimes. And I've got a giant bucket myself of scrap pieces that I need to be working through. I'm gonna do a 3-layer basic star, and I'm actually gonna do this one just a little tiny bit different than the 3-layer that I did last week. I can't remember my exact measurements that I used last week, but with 3 layers instead of 4, you do want to space your layers out just a tiny bit more because you're trying to cover more ground with less fabric. And last week when I did the 3-layer one, I came out from the center a little bit extra, I believe, but today I'm actually going to give myself even more space because I'm going to put a charm in the center, and I want to leave room for that. So I've got this cute candy striped fabric. It's a busy, busy, busy fabric, but we're going to play with this. So I'm going to come out, like normally on a 4-layer, I'd probably come out to about there, which if I were to guess, I would say that's about 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch, but I'm coming out more. Let me grab my tape measure. If I can find it, I still have a big giant mess on my table around me. Oh, here it is. I have still not cleaned it up from the last couple of lives, so I've just got all kinds of stuff going on around me. So I'm at about, like the edge of my fabric is sitting about 5/8, maybe just a touch more than 5/8 of an inch from my center. My pin's gonna probably be sitting at about 3/4 of an inch. So So I'm making a nice wide star in the middle. Nancy, hey Nancy. Nancy says, I finally got to see the notification on time so I can watch from the beginning. Awesome. Needleworker says, finished one last night, did okay. Like you say, the more you do, the easier it gets. Starting to get my fabric supply going. Honestly, even just your second one is gonna go so much differently than the first. It really does get much easier once you get into the flow of the folding. It really and truly does get easier. I'm gonna look and see if it looks like I have consistent like stripes with these, because I may want to be strategic with how I place stuff, or maybe not. It depends on. Okay, so then we have some different ones down here. Yeah, so what I'm looking at here is like when you fold over the top edge, you know, you see a certain part of it. Here, let me, like for example, if I fold this over and make my triangle, I'm seeing that red and green stripe right there. I have some consistency here, but not through all the pieces. So I don't know that I'm going to pay that much attention to it. If I was seeing the same exact cut through all these pieces, then I'd probably try to be a little more strategic, but I don't really know that I have to do that. I'm going a little wider than I'm used to going, so I'm gonna measure the first few just to make sure I'm happy with where I'm at, because I'm not really used to coming out this far. Hi Debbie. Hi Suzanne. Hi Sally. Needleworker said, one of my fabrics was a busy print, but I didn't care, just wanted to get the rhythm and the spacing. That's a good way to look at it. Like the first couple are kind of the practice ones. And you'll learn a lot too about, I mean, just working with those busy prints, like how you want things to lay. Yeah, it's funny because I do have some consistency here. So I think I will go with using these couple of peppermint stripes here on these next two. I don't really have enough of each, like the way the stripes are, I don't have enough of each one to do like 4 of one and 4 of another, all the same. But if I go 2 and 2, then I think that that would be okay. Once you like start making a lot of these, you're gonna find yourself folding like every piece of fabric that you come across into little triangles to see what it's gonna look like on an ornament. I forgot to turn the sound off on my phone. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. Needleworker said directional fabric is tricky. Yeah, it certainly can be. When it comes to like stripes and stuff, I do tend to prefer stripes always running, so they would be running lengthwise through your rectangles, so that when you create your triangle, they're running in line with your lines. However, I mean, rules can be broken. There's always exceptions, and I've seen some ornaments look really cool with the stripes running the other direction. So it is definitely worth experimenting with. Hi, Kelly. If you're just joining in, I said this in the very beginning, but today I wanted to do something easy. I'm just making a simple 3-layer basic star, which is one of the easier ones for me. I needed something kind of brainless for today. But also I wanted to use fabrics that, because we've been talking a lot about using scraps, and I wanted to show some fabrics that maybe didn't look like they were going to look that good. I'm using brown. Now this stripe fabric is super cute, but it's also difficult. It's a difficult fabric because it's so busy. But yeah, just because sometimes you have fabric that you're thinking might not turn out that great, might not be the best choice for an ornament, and I just like brown, you know, who wants to make a brown ornament? But we're gonna have something cute at the end, I think. See, I thought I had another one with that same green and red towards the top. Maybe that one. This one. This was a fabric that I had originally bought. It was a coordinate to some other fabrics. I believe it's Hoffman, and it's from years ago, but it turned out to be a little busier than I was expecting. But I did only get it for the band. I had planned to only use it as a band fabric, so to wrap around the outside edge, but we just have had a bunch left over. So I'm not anymore. I think that we've used it all up at this point, but we had it for a while and we were trying to find ways to get rid of it. Needleworker said, almost looks like a gingerbread house. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going for here. I'm going for a gingerbread theme. So you nailed it. Callie said, I'm getting gingerbread vibes on this one for sure. Yeah. Kind of like a candy theme, gingerbread candy. Needleworker said, is that how you pick your fabrics, by collections? Oops. Sometimes we will do, like, in fact, a lot, like in the last few years, well, a few years ago I did that more. I would choose like collections because they were all coordinated and it made it a little bit easier. But over the last few years, I've found that it's been better for us to just mostly just pick ones that we like. So if we just like one from a collection, we'll get it, and we're putting more together from separate collections. Because what ended up happening is that we ended up with like a lot left over of something from a collection, but we didn't have the others from the collection. And so we had all these like hodgepodge pieces, you know, like a fabric here from this collection, a fabric left over here from this collection. And it was becoming a problem. So I had to like kind of like rewire my brain a little bit to start seeing new collections on our own from what we had left over. Now that we've started doing that, I feel like it's opened things up a lot, and we're actually doing that on purpose more now. Hopefully that all made sense. Because the problem that we would have, and this is more with our original club because than our Christmas club. The original club uses we do a brand new pattern every single month. It's like a never seen before pattern that we roll out. The problem with that is that when I'm buying fabric, and we always have to buy like a year in advance, I don't always know what pattern we're going to be using for that fabric. So it's hard to know how much of each fabric to get. And a lot of our patterns use a different amount of some fabrics than others. Like maybe fabric 1 of that pattern only uses, 20 pieces, whereas fabric 2 uses like 35 pieces or something, 36 pieces. So we just would end up with like leftovers of one but not the other, and it just became a thing. Hey Alice. Alice said, catching up with you. Awesome. Julie said, your 4 center pieces look more brown. I would have never thought to put those fabrics together. I'm intrigued. Always in awe of how you put the fabrics together. That's exactly what we were just talking about, Julie. Today when I got on here, I was like, I'm going to do something pretty easy today. And I had this leftover mini kit that we had in the shop a while back. We don't have it anymore, but I really thought this would be a good example of showing how fabrics that don't look that pretty can turn into a really cute ornament, because we're often using our scraps, and sometimes the scraps don't look all that enticing. So this is definitely a fabric that may not look that enticing. Needleworker said, seems like a good stash of solids is a good idea. Yeah, it 100%. We try to pick more of the solids and tonals now that we can just have on hand, especially when the Christmas lines come out, where they have like the metallics and glitter and stuff like that. We try to stock up on those things because then we can pair those with other things a lot easier. I'm trying to decide how much. I think I want to come up just a touch on this. Hey there, Mike. Mike says, good afternoon. I bet your Christmas tree is something to behold. Thank you. I do love to see these ornaments on the tree. They are beautiful on the Christmas tree. Since they're all so different from each other, I'm not the kind of person that has like a matching I love them. I love trees that where all the colors are the same, like you have all blue and silver or all maroon and gold or something like that. I don't have that because all these ornaments look different from each other, but I really love how it looks. I love all the different colors all together, all the patterns, all the fabrics. I think it's really pretty. Needleworker says, it's amazing how one color can bring out the colors of another. Yeah, it really is. It's funny because sometimes the opposite happens where I think 2 colors look good together and I put them on an ornament and they don't look good together at all. That's happened way more times than I would like to admit. That is another reason why we have some excess fabric down there with no match. Because we'll have fabrics left over that I thought were going to look really good. And then we get them and we're like, no, that does not work. Sorry, material shops might be a good source of material. Yeah, they may be. We have to do, well, we do... I was going to say we do mostly wholesale at this point because we have to get hundreds of yards per kit that we send out, and they all have to be like the same. All of our kits every month are the same as each other so that everyone's getting the same kit. So we have to get wholesale, and we usually have to order about a year in advance. Some of the collections will be a little less than that, but it's typically about a year in advance of when they're showing us the collections and when they're actually shipping out to us. And it really took me some time to get used to that, because it's hard to know how the fabrics are gonna look on an ornament until you've actually put it together. Now with our Christmas club, it's much easier to plan in advance, because with the Christmas club, the focus isn't so much on getting a new pattern every month. It's more about the kits themselves, like getting a kit with all the materials to make the ornament. And so we go back and we reuse existing patterns in that club. And since those patterns exist already, we already know how much fabric we need. So we can kind of look at the fabrics and plan out based on that pattern. And it is just much simpler to plan for. I'm gonna go in just a little more on this one. Move this pin down just a little. Be covered. This is going to be my final layer, so I'm trying to make sure my pins are low enough, close enough to the equator. Trying to, I feel like I didn't really get that measurement right. Move that up just a touch. Are you guys thinking, what in the world is going on with this ornament? It's gonna be cute, I promise. Okay, that's side one. Let me flip this over. And we'll start here on side two. Julie says, and you're showcasing how a stripe can work. Some stripes are horizontal and some are vertical. Yeah, we were actually just talking about that a minute ago with the stripes. I've seen it done both ways, and sometimes it can work either way. My tendency is always to go with the stripes running outwards from the center of the star, which means that in the rectangle, they're going lengthwise. I have a tendency to go that way because I just love how they look when they're running out from the center, like it follows the lines. But I have seen some stripes work going the other way. It really just depends on the print itself, the fabric or the ribbon. Another one that can end up really cool is diagonal stripes. That can end up looking pretty neat. You can almost create like a swirl effect going around. But it really, for me, it feels like it's always a matter of experimenting, because you really just never know exactly how it's going to look until you play with it. Nancy said, I like it. I can't wait to see it finished. Thanks, Nancy. We're going to add some bows on here. That's going to give it a pop. I have an embellishment for the center. That's why I left myself a big star. It looks weird now because it's like a big brown star in the middle, but it's going to be covered up by an embellishment. I have a cute little charm to hang in the center. Have you ever tried making tamari balls? You know what? I wrapped one ball one time with one color string. That was enough for me. I've seen them and they are absolutely beautiful. And some of them are so intricate. Carmen says, I like that you're using 2 fabric types. I need to do this also. I always seem to work with 3. 2 is very nice also. Yeah, it can be a little bit simpler, and you can get away with doing 3 layers. I mean, you can do 3 colors in a 3-layer ornament too. Honestly, you can just totally play around with the amount of colors and the amount of layers. But yeah, I like the simple effect of this. So I've got, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to lay this out. All of these pieces are pretty similar, not that one. Those are all pretty similar, and I didn't realize that on the first half. I'm gonna showcase, I think this time I'm gonna try to showcase more of the red and green stripe, and I'd like to use those candy cane or pinwheel peppermints. There's another one of those. I had way more of these ones than I realized. Okay, I'll do two with those. Actually, I really like these ones, but they're right in the middle. They're going to be harder to show off. This one, maybe I can get away with it. And I can get away with folding over more of the top edge on the very first 4 pieces of this next layer because they get partially covered up by the next layer. So I'm looking at maybe those for my first 2 pieces that I put on. I like that red and green stripe. And I like these peppermints. All right, I think I have a plan. So I'm trying for these to show that middle stripe of little peppermints, which is going to require me folding over a lot more. Suzanne said, I found a pic last night of your old storefront on shipping day. Postal truck with little white boxes and a pallet of them inside the door. Smiled when I saw the old logo of the girl sitting with the red outfit on. That's from a long time ago, Suzanne. Yes. So you remember that logo. That was so long ago. I did always like that one. It reminded me of, I got that when I just started the business, and that was all the way back in like 2004, I think, is when I got that logo. 2004, 2005, something like that. In my eBay days. Needleworker said, almost have to fussy cut fabrics like this. For sure. For sure. This was like excess fabric that we had left over, like I was talking about earlier. So they didn't really get totally fussy cut. They just got cut. So now we're working with them. These are very busy though, for sure. Debbie said, when you place the pin on the bottom part of the prairie point fold, is it catching both of the folds using only one pin? Yeah, so you're talking about at the bottom of the triangle. So here and here, and then you're talking about this next pin right here. Yes, so I do the tiniest little overlap so that I just have one line running straight down the center, and then I use the one pin to hold both, and that saves a lot of pins by the time you get to the end of the ornament. Kelly said, hoping my angel kit is in the mail today. I hope so too. Today's Wednesday and you said you ordered it on Friday. I feel like it should be there by now. Hopefully it gets there today. You are very welcome, Debbie. Okay, so I'm going to switch now to, I think I was going to go for this stripe, but I actually think I want to do the red and gold. Because I haven't really shown that one yet, I don't think. Or I did right here, actually. No, I think I like the red and green up here. It's kind of busy. I don't really know if it matters that much. I might be being a little extra fussy with this. But that's cute. I like that stripe showing. I was close, but not quite there. Alice said, I'm hoping that my order for discs comes in soon. I plan to make cardinal birdies for Christmas. That's a great idea. I love that idea. The little bird pattern turned into cardinals. I would love to see how that turns out. Okay, 4 more to go in this layer. Those are so cute. I like those peppermints. Rhonda agrees, Alice. Rhonda said those sound like they'd be pretty. I'd love to see what one looks like. Final 2. I'm going to go for showing this green and red stripe. The lighter green and red stripe. You guys can see that my point's a little off from the line there because my line's not really centered. So I'd rather have the point centered than be on the line. I just feel like in the end it's more noticeable if the star points are not even with each other than if everything is exactly on the line, if that makes sense. Looks like the same thing on this side. All right, I'm gonna do a little trim here before I put my final layer on. And Carmen said, me too, Alice. All right, we all want to see the cardinals. Alice said, when I first started making birdies, I was reluctant to bend the wire for the feet, but it turned out to be quite easy. I'll post a picture on the OG Facebook page. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. I know they seem a little intimidating at first when with some of those ornaments that have the different techniques in them than just the fabric things. It can be a little intimidating at first until you give it a shot, right? Yes, you do need to set up Facebook. Not that I blame you for not having Facebook. I don't know that I would have Facebook if it weren't for the Ornament Girls Facebook group. I really never post anything usually like on my personal page. Debbie said, I'd love to have the ornament that you're making right now. It would fit beautifully in my gingerbread theme. It's gonna be definitely a gingerbread theme. I'm glad you like it, Debbie. Carmen said, I know I'm not good at these things, but I need to try and set it up. The problem is it can be a little addicting. So I've tried to, I kind of got in the habit of just not going on very often because the news feed will just suck you right in. Julie said, I've done cardinals, bluebird, and a chicken because we have chickens. You know what? Chickens is one of the things I want. I want to try chickens. I'm giving myself another couple years before I delve into that. I started the garden a couple of years ago and I love it, but I wanted to get really established in that before I tried to bring in the chickens. Although I've heard that once you have them started and you get used to it, that they're not that hard of a job, hard of a thing to keep up. I don't know if that's true or not. You can let me know what you think. The other thing that I worry about is my dogs. They're not mean or anything, but they're dogs and they love to chase things. So I'm not sure how that would go. Debbie said, I'm right there with you. To Carmen. Yep. Honestly, sometimes I feel like Facebook isn't the very best environment as a whole, and probably everyone says this about their own Facebook groups, but the Ornament Girls Facebook group is the best place. I wouldn't have Facebook if it weren't for the Ornament Girls Facebook group. Everyone is so helpful in there. People post pictures all the time. Like, I mean, we have many, many posts every single day with new ideas. People's personal takes on all the different patterns. And if you ask a question in there, you will get an answer. Believe me. Alice said, I'd love to see the chicken. I made one for my daughter-in-law who raises chickens. Wonderful fresh eggs. That's what I want, Alice. That's what I want too. Oh my goodness. It just seems like it would be such a luxury. Rhonda said, I don't have a Facebook either. I miss out on so many crafty things because of that. I've been considering setting one up. There's definitely a lot of great ideas there on Facebook for sure. I know though that you can also get tons and tons of ideas off of like Pinterest and Instagram. I don't Instagram either though. I kind of got sick of Instagram as well. We have an Ornament Girl Instagram, but I don't really do any personal Instagram. Carmen said, I need help to set up. We'll see how it goes. Maybe one of the grandkids could help you get set up, Carmen. You think? Debbie said that's the only reason that I would set up Facebook is the crafting, sewing, and quilting. I do see, not in our Facebook group, but just on the regular like news feed, I will see a lot of like arguments too, which is why one of the reasons I try to avoid it. So there's that. You got to watch out for that if you get on Facebook. Lots of opinions flying around. Lots of brown showing here. We're going to dress it up though here in just a couple minutes. That's the end of that layer and that side. Let me do a little trim. We're going to add even more brown. Embeth Blue. I hope I said that right. Here for the first time. Made ornaments many years ago. Can you tell me the length and the width of the strips? Thank you. I follow you on YouTube. Thank you so much for the follow. I'm so happy to have you here. So the smaller rectangles that I used throughout the entire ornament were 2 by 3 inches. This one longer strip that I'm using now is about 2.5 inches wide. This one actually looked like it was closer to 2 inches, not 2.5. But we usually cut those about 2 to 2.5 inches wide, and it's about, I want to say about 10.5 inches long. So just long enough to wrap around. This one was just long enough to wrap around. No excess here on this one. I do have a video here on the channel which does this pattern in a more step-by-step fashion, and it goes through all, like, everything, all the different sizes for things, how many you need, and it will tell you the measurements of the whole thing as you're going and all of that. So if you look for the playlist called Basic Star Workshop, you'll find a 3-part series. We go through supplies, and then we go through making the ornament, and then we go through embellishing the ornament. Okay, so I've got some ribbons here. We're going to dress this up with some ribbons. I'm going to do a gift bow style again. And so I need to cut about 7 inches off of this one, off of these two. These two I have here are just like scraps. And then I've got a roll of some other stuff. So 7 inches of that. We're gonna mix in some of this. Oh, before I put on the bow, I almost forgot. I forgot what I wanted to add to the band. I'll cut this first. That. And I'm gonna do one of this. We're really gonna dress this up with this bow. So those. But before I do that, we're going to really make this look gingerbready with a little rickrack. I think I want to actually make sure I don't pin this right at the top center, because this is not the easiest to pin through. And I'm going to be sticking those bows up there. So I'll just give it 2 pins here. I'm just slightly off center of where I know my bow pin is going to go down. We'll wrap this around. You know what I was just thinking? I think I might actually put 2 strips of this on. Let me see what it'll look like. I think it would be really cute if we did, like, yeah, we'll do 2 stripes of this going around. Callie said, I was checking out the website yesterday and I found all the different folds. There are so many. I know. There's so many now. I'm having a hard, oh, no point on there. I'm having a hard time keeping track of all of our folds and all of our patterns. There's so many. Catherine said, hello, it looks like I'm a little bit late. Always love to see what you're up to. Thanks, Catherine. You're here though, right? That's all that matters. You made it. Better late than never. Needleworker said, out of channels I'm subscribed to, I only have 2 that I interact with this being one of the 2. Thank you. That I'm so happy to hear that you're enjoying interacting with this. Enjoying that everyone is so nice and positive. I appreciate having you here and having you interact with me very much. Julie said, all I will say about Facebook is make sure all your settings are private. Yeah, very good advice. The only page that I pay attention to is OG. Chickens are not hard once established. Ours are in an enclosed pen. Okay, yeah, I was thinking, I've seen a couple of like chicken coops that have the enclosed run outside of it, and I was thinking that maybe that would be the option for me with the dogs. I've also got a little section of my yard that I could fence in separately as well. So that might make extra doubly sure that they're safe from my dogs. And it's kind of on the back side of our shop, the OG shop. And so it would be protected from like a windy area. We get a lot of wind. I'm right next to a lake and we get a ton of wind off of that lake. So I feel like putting them behind the shop there would be protective in a couple of different ways. Catherine said, oh, very gingerbready. Love it. Kelly said, oh my, OMG, how cute is that with the Rick Rack ribbon? Thank you. Rhonda said, love that Rick Rack, too cute. Debbie said, Rick Rack is a fabulous detail to the theme. And Gretchen said, hello. Hey, Gretchen. Glad to see you today. Okay, there's that. Now we're going to add a very colorful bow to the top. And doing the cute little gingerbread candy theme, I should say, and festive. We're going to mix it up. Okay, actually, I think what I want to do, I should have done that in a little different order, but I'll make sure I loop them in a different order. Mixing in the solids with the candy prints. Okie dokie, there's bow 1. Where's the top? There's the top. There's bow 1. Let's do another one almost just like that, although I think I want to put the candy print at the very top of this one. Let me see, I got a couple little pieces left over. Let's see how long these are. I'm hoping they're at least 6. All right, I want about 6.5 for this one, so let me just trim off a teeny little bit of that. Gretchen said, how did I miss you going live? I don't know, Gretchen. Are you signed up for notifications? Robin said, that's so cute. Catherine said, which do you prefer, the lives or the teaching class video? I personally love the interaction. Catherine, I am liking doing this live much more. I know though that it's not a full step-by-step tutorial, so there's definitely still a place for those. But for me personally, I'm enjoying this much, much more than I thought I would. Not that it's not that I didn't think I would enjoy it or that I thought I wouldn't enjoy it, but I thought it would be harder. I just thought it would be a little bit harder to do, but after the first couple, when I got used to it a little bit more, I'm just thinking it's so fun to just get on here and talk to you guys, answer any questions that you have if you have them, and just chit chat. Carolyn said, that's so adorable. Makes me want to grab me some brown fabric soon. I am really happy to hear that. This didn't look like much to start. The little pack of brown fabric squares definitely looked like it was a little drab. But hopefully you guys will be inspired to go through your scrap bins and see what you have, and something that maybe doesn't look that exciting. Honestly, with a little embellishing, with the right accent fabrics or coordinates or whatever, you can really make something cute. Catherine said, hey Callie, good to see you here too. Carmen said, wanted to say goodbye. Oh geez, I have an appointment. I'll catch up with you on the next pinning live. Bye Stacy Ann. See ya, Carmen. Good luck at your appointment, and I'll see you tomorrow hopefully. Needleworker said, also bye and be safe. Gretchen said, yes, I'm signed up and I've been watching for it all day. No problem, because I can restart the beginning later. Yeah, absolutely, you can. And hopefully tomorrow you'll catch us at the beginning. I just don't understand the way that it works with the notifications. It seems like it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Okay, there is our bow. I'm going to do a hanger and I'm going to do my charm. Oh, I forgot to get the hanger string out. I'm going to use gold. Got it right back here behind me. Kelly said, I'm starting to really look forward to these videos each day, kind of like having coffee with friends. Kelly, me too. I'm looking forward to it too, and I'm so happy to hear that you are as well. I appreciate you being here. We're going to keep going. Needleworker agrees. Gretchen said, yes, Kelly, I agree, like getting together with friends. Teresa said, hey, everyone from Montana. Hey, Teresa. I must have gotten my notification late and I missed yesterday. So sorry to have missed it. So it's not just Gretchen then. Teresa also got a late notification. You know, Debbie, the only reason I'm going with the silver is because I have a little gold in here and my charm is gold. So that's why I'm going with the gold, which is a little different, yes. Usually with candy themes, I tend to go towards silver, but we're going a little off the beaten path here today. And you know what? I made this way too long. Let me cut this a little bit. I'm going to start over. I cut the knot off and I'm just going to tie that a little shorter. The branches on my tree just aren't that far apart. There we go. That's more like it. I've got some green beads that I'm going to use for this and for putting on my charm. And the other thing is the metallic inside the fabric itself is gold also. So we're going a little, this is a unique one. Unique. Okay, now to get it through all the layers. I actually happen to have some scraps here from yesterday's live when we did the angel. I'm going to use that as my cushion. I like the green bead up there. It stands out against the red and the white. So there's that. And then our finishing touch is going to be a cute little candy cane charm. If I had a gingerbread charm, that might be even better. But we're going to pull out the gold that's in that fabric. And this is kind of a tall charm, which is why I made my star a little bit bigger than I normally would. So I'm not going to pin dead center because I want the charm itself to be centered. So I'm going to go up just a touch from the center. I don't want to press it too far because I want it to hang straight and dangle a little bit. There you go. That's adorable. We'll do the other side. Carolyn said, I look forward to them too. Robin said, I enjoy the chat and following along. It's fun. Teresa said, I love that. Looks like gingerbread and candy. A little gingerbread would be so cute in the center too. Like a gingerbread, I don't know, like a flat back or a charm. The only issue is it would have to be a very bright one because most of the gingerbread stuff that we have here in the shop are also brown and they wouldn't stand out very much on here. Debbie said, only because of the light ribbon colors still looks great. Yeah, true. Yep. I agree with you. I do tend to go with silver usually with candy themes, but this is a weird one with those weird gold toned fabrics. So we're gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it. Catherine said, you are too wild going with the gold. Yeah. Yeah, wild, wild, wild. Suzanne said, agree, really enjoy these. Debbie said, very stunning. Thank you guys. Teresa said, I really enjoy watching these and listening in and chatting as well. It's also so nice it also is so nice to, I think, see Stacy making ornaments. I think that's what you meant there. Thank you, Teresa. Needle Worker said, it's got to be easier with no editing for you. That's a time sucker. Oh my goodness, you are not kidding. I'm leaning with this style. I'm learning with this style, sorry, because you can ask and get answers. You know what? 100%. The editing takes longer than the recording. I feel like it takes an hour for every 10 minutes of actual edited footage. It takes an hour of editing. Some parts of the ornaments, maybe not quite as much editing, but just speeding up certain parts, where it gets a little bit boring, things like that. It takes time to cut make all those cuts and stuff. So it's definitely a thing. I feel like there's going to be a place here on this channel for doing these lives and for still doing the recorded tutorials, because I do think that they're really helpful, especially for someone new. Although I know that, look, this is moving around. I should probably put some maybe beaded pins along this so it stays. I know there's some of you guys here on the live that are new as well, and that you're finding this really helpful. But I do know too that going back and watching like a replay of a live can be a little bit annoying if you're just trying to learn something. So yeah, there's a place for both, I think, but I'm definitely enjoying this. Gretchen said, is that fabric or a ribbon in the brown? It is fabric. It was plain old boring brown fabric. Debbie said peppermint embellishments would be good too. You are very right. You are very right. In fact, I have little peppermints here. I don't know if they would work. I have these little guys. I wonder if I could like stick a couple along my rickrack to help hold the rickrack in place. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'll show you what I mean. These are little clay embellishments, and you can pin right through them because they're so thin and they're soft. I feel like it would be too much with the 2 lines of rickrack, so maybe if I would have stuck with just one, this would be cute, just like going around it to help hold it in place. With 2, I feel like it's too much, but I don't know. I'll play with that a little bit. But yeah, peppermints definitely matches well. Alice said, very sweet. Debbie said, live is like being in a class, but only you're at home. Yeah, for sure. Kelly said, I want to start adding charms to my ornaments. Is there a chain that you can recommend? I think it would be more cost effective to get a roll other than the short chains. You could do that. I think if you went to like the jewelry section at like a Michael's or something. Hang on, guys. Let me clear my throat. I'm starting to lose my voice from all the talking. Then and get some jewelry pliers. You could just take apart what you need and do it that way, and it would probably be much more cost effective. Our little chains, that's something that we custom make, and for those of you guys who don't know what she's talking about, it's these little guys. We have these custom made because a lot of people, what we used to do in our kits is we would send out like 5 or 6 jump rings separate, and that's another thing you could do, Callie, if you wanted to. You get a package of jump rings and then just attach them together and then attach your charm. But we were getting a lot of people that said they didn't like messing with that, so we started making these little custom charm chains that are pre-made. So this is like the easy, convenient way. And then either making your own with jump rings or getting a chain and cutting it would be the more economical way if you're going to use a lot of them. Rosa said, hi Stacy, how do I sign up for notifications? Will you be doing these peaceful pinning live sessions every day? Till when? I'm going to try to do them every day. Monday through Friday. So not the weekends right now, but I'm aiming for Monday through Friday. And I'm going to be just trying to do it indefinitely. I'm hoping to keep on going with it. It's been something I've been wanting to try for a really long time, and I just finally have started doing it. So the only thing I don't have nailed down yet is the time. So I still need to kind of get into the groove of when I want to do these lives. And I've been kind of all over the place lately. So sorry about that. But hopefully soon I'll be on a better schedule. As far as notifications, under the video, you'll see where the subscribe button is for the Ornament Girl channel. Make sure you're subscribed. After you hit subscribe, it turns to a little bell. And make sure you hit that again. And that's how you turn on the notifications. Carolyn said, I like the 2 pieces of the Rick Rack. Thank you, Carolyn. I like it too. It looks cute. It looks, I don't know, it just looks more cookie-ish to me. Kelly said offset the peppermints around the edge. Yeah, like, so do one here, one there, one there, one there. That's an idea for sure. And Debbie said, great idea, Kelly. Suzanne said, or offset with the green beads. That's true too. Totally could do that. Robin said you could alternate them and use the small glass head pins. You guys are all on the same wavelength. Robin said I use chain, very fine, and jump rings. Okay, so you use like a thin chain. Yeah, the jump rings is really economical, and you can get ones that are really thin wire that are super easy to open up and close. You just want to make sure, and a lot of you guys probably already know this if you've done like beading or any kind of jewelry making, but you want to open your jump rings like side to side. You don't want to open them, like you don't want to split them open out, because then they never close back up all the way. And actually, I think in the Basic Star Workshop Part 3 video, I show using jump rings to make a chain. I just thought of that. So you might want to check that out. All right, you guys. Well, once again, I really appreciate you guys being here with me today to talk to me and make this ornament along with me. I'm so glad to hear that you guys are liking this. I absolutely love it. I know I've said it a million times, but I absolutely love it. So we're going to keep on going. I'm going to come up with something for us to make tomorrow. And yeah, if you have any suggestions, please, as always, leave them in the comments underneath the video, and I read them. So I would love to see what your ideas are for any future ones going forward. I'm going to need ideas if I do this every day, you guys. You're going to have to help me out. Debbie said, great group of gals on your live channel for ornament making. Enjoying. I agree. You guys are an awesome bunch, and I appreciate all of you guys for being here. Gretchen said, adorable. Phil said, great ornament. Teresa said, thanks so much for doing this. Thank you, Teresa, for being here. Rhonda said, such a cute ornament. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Needle worker said, maybe zigzag the candies down the sides, one side to the other. That's an idea. Like that. That would totally match with the rickrack, right? Alice said, thank you. Debbie said, thank you. Thanks, guys. I think that's all I wanted to tell you. I'll probably hop off of here. Oh, guys, for those, I think most of you guys are an Ornament Girl already. You're already in the Ornament Girls Club. But we are open right now, but it closes tonight in just a couple hours for our digital membership. It's not trying to be salesy here, but it does close tonight. So if any of you guys are inspired and want to get a new pattern every single month, we close tonight. It's $13 a month. It's not very expensive. If you're interested, there's a link below. I'd love to see you in that group if you're interested. Otherwise, I hope to see you here every day or a lot of days making these ornaments with me. Robin said, yes, as delicate as I can find from Michael's. Okay, yeah, because you don't want it to be too chunky or it'll overtake the charm, it'll overtake the ornament. And also one thing that will happen too with heavy stuff on the top is it'll make your ornament just flop over, which happens a lot anyway. But the heavier things that you have on top, it makes the ornaments flop over. So yeah, it's nice to keep things nice and light. Debbie said, don't forget to like the video. Debbie, thank you for that reminder as well. Yes, guys, please like the video if you enjoyed this, and I would greatly appreciate that. Kelly said, no angel kit today. Oh, no, Kelly. I'm so sorry. It's taking forever to get to you. Hopefully tomorrow. Bummer. Needleworkers said, great job, everyone. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Nancy said, enjoyed this so much. Thank you for the inspiration. You're so welcome. Robin said, take care. You guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe a little earlier tomorrow. That's what I'm going to go for. But in the meantime, happy ornamenting. Have an awesome night. Bye, guys.